What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran and I help people using a spiritual perspective. Today, I want to talk about spirituality, and I've noticed something about it. I've noticed something about spirituality, and not that it exists, though I have noticed that, I suppose, but what I'm talking about in this video is that there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with modern spirituality, and maybe this has always been the case for religions of various degrees, various happenstances, other things that start with the word various. But what I have noticed specifically in modern spirituality is a common theme, if you want to call it that, common thread, something common, that elicits a greed almost, elicits a type of feeling that is actually rather reminiscent of religion. Oftentimes, the feelings of modern spirituality make you feel worse rather than better. And that there's this emphasis on actually trying to obtain something rather than trying to be something. That something being what you already are. So what I notice so many new age, especially spiritual self-proclaimed gurus on Instagram, YouTube, whatever else there is out there, TikTok probably, right? What I've noticed that they do, not all of them, but what a lot of them do is preach spirituality from the point of view of achieving something. Initially, especially when I started the spiritual journey, it sounded rather fun, easy, exciting. You mean to tell me I can get whatever I want simply by thinking it? Oh, that's amazing, right? The law of attraction, the law of assumption, a lot of these ideas that are similar to those sort of laws, they all kind of come from this place where it's about getting your dream job, getting a yacht, getting more money, getting love, getting partners, getting friends, getting recognition, getting success. There's this focus on the material, right? Which is then hijacked through the positivity movement. Right? So you can get whatever you want as long as you believe in it hard enough, as long as you're very positive, as long as you think openly and happily and focus only on the positive and don't let anything or anybody else get in the way of that. Right? Essentially be stubborn towards your own goals, stubborn in your positivity. So what I've noticed is that, this actually is toxic, just for the sake of the argument that if you ignore the negative in life, you're probably going to have a difficult time with your emotions. You're probably going to have a difficult time when things do inevitably go wrong, because they do inevitably go wrong. That is life. If everything we could consciously choose our lives to be happened, we probably wouldn't experience much of a life at all. It is the times that we go through things that are difficult or uncomfortable that we grow as people. And often those are the times that we discover our success, our personal success, or what leads to financial success, right? You're uncomfortable, you're in a dark place in your life, and yet that's where you turn to a specific hobby which later on in life earns you a great deal of recognition or fame or success or something along the lines, or just basic happiness of joy for doing it, right? And you wouldn't get those things if you were living in Candyland all the time. That wouldn't happen. As much as I love candy, even I couldn't live in Candyland. Literally, I don't think I could. I would throw up quite quickly. So there's an element of falseness to the whole idea of spirituality in a modern context. And you know this, again, because people are trying to preach to you from the perspective of what you can get. What you can get. And the thing that you'll really start to pick up on is if it comes from a perspective of what you can get or what you can obtain, then there must be steps in order for that to happen. And if there's steps, there's rules. And if there's rules, there's a payment to be made to somebody. Right? The law of attraction, manifestation coaches, these types of people, what they're going to do, unwillingly or willingly, is take advantage of people who are feeling insecure. And that is then going to keep them fed, keep them happy, and thus proving that the law of attraction or other similar things works in their favor. And of course it's going to work if you're the person peddling the whole idea, right? So it begs the question to be asked, how much of spirituality or the modern spirituality that's out there how much of that information is designed to actually make me feel okay versus feeling okay when I have something else. And you can even take the basic idea of enlightenment as a prime example of this. Enlightenment is taught as a faraway goal. You need to be there. This space, somewhere over there, you need to be there. And if you're here, then that space always seems like it's just so far away, right? Even though here is actually where that there feeling is. It's kind of a contradiction, but it's sort of putting it, if you're trying to get into this place of nirvana or peace where nothing bothers you and everything just washes off of your back like water on a duck, or money off of a stripper, and you just can't get to that place even though you felt it before, and yet every time that you don't feel that because you have before, you start beating yourself up about it, So this enlightenment, this place, this nirvana, this goal that you have of being this individual who is completely zen and nothing bothers you and everything is peaceful. And that's found here. That's when you find, you discover that or you feel that in the present moment. And yet our mind still tries to convince us that it's somewhere else. You have to do a certain set of actions to get there. And so when we don't feel that way, automatically we assume that we're not already there. Because we've skipped ahead. We think that being at peace is only positively, basically being in a positive place. So what happens when you're not at peace with yourself or with something in life, right? So we miss this step of being at peace with not being at peace, right? And a lot of us get stuck there, including myself, right? It's actually very easy to find peace in many situations. A lot of people who go through spiritual journeys can get past the whole, oh, I'm stuck in traffic, God damn it. A lot of people can get to the point where they feel peaceful. They do something else, maybe they learn a language or they talk to a friend they haven't talked to in a long time, right? So you can do something with your time if things aren't going as planned, right? You can find peace in that. So a lot of people get to that point. But what a lot of people don't realize is that peace is not always going to be obtainable through just being okay with your surroundings. That a lot of the time you need to be okay with things not being okay. And that is a huge part of spirituality. It's a huge part of being human. It's a huge part of being okay with life. And directly, it ties into contentment. Contentment. I think I said that with my voice cracking. I ran out of air. But it ties in directly with contentment, which is essentially, in my own words, being okay with nothing, right? And so a lot of spirituality is designed to actually not reinforce that idea, but rather make you feel only peaceful or good or enlightened when you've done certain things, when you've gotten to a certain place, when you feel a certain way, when you have a certain thing, right? When you're at, when you're this kind of person. And it's never okay, it seems, to be not okay. Or it's never okay to be what you are now. Imperfect, silly, sometimes stupid, sometimes angry, sometimes sexual, sometimes horny, sometimes perturbed, frustrated, anxious, right? It's not okay to feel emotions. It's not okay to be this way. It's not okay to have a negative thought or a negative feeling or to maybe make a mistake. And so much of spirituality is based on this idea that the perfect, enlightened individual does not experience any of these things, and that in order to be a successful manifester, in order to be this kind of person, you need to follow these steps, this coaching program, these kinds of things. And that really trips people up. It tripped me up a lot because it makes you feel it doesn't make you feel any better. You're none the wiser to any of the real deeper things that are going on within you, because you're only looking at things from this sort of mental perspective where you need to be this positive individual. And people will throw at this, throw you this idea that you need to be this happy-go-lucky guy or woman or whatever to get these things. And it's never presented that it's okay to just not have these things, to not be okay, to feel shitty, and that maybe the key to spirituality isn't having a new yacht or more money or success or recognition or fame. Maybe the key to your own happiness or feelings of peace is to be okay with nothing in your pocket, with nothing in your stomach, with nothing even on you, right? When you don't have the new shoes, you don't have the job. And I'm not saying that none of these things are important or that you shouldn't want them. Of course, I'm not saying that at all. But still, maybe, just maybe, if you don't have these things, there is a lesson in learning to be okay with nothing. So that way, when you do find your success, it doesn't ruin you. It doesn't destroy you like it does to so many people. And sometimes it kills them. Right? Sometimes it kills them. Other times, and a lot of the time, it just makes them morally sort of corrupt or less happy. Right? So I don't like this whole trend of spirituality where we're really just trying to get more shit. And it's just new language, new ideas, but they're basically just repackaged old stuff. Right? And they're just reworded and rebranded. But it's the same crap that's basically taking advantage of our insecurities. And if spirituality is being presented to you like that, whatever the language is, you should ask questions and you should be wary. I'm not going to tell you to not do this or do that, but for myself, when I'm talking to somebody who's, spiritual or part of this awakening, and they're coming from a place of they don't want to talk about the emotions, they don't want to talk about what's actually happening. They don't want to ask questions. They just want to talk about, positive thinking. Let's get you a car or a job. Nobody ever wants to make me feel okay with having nothing, and I think that's interesting. That's pretty much the point of this video, guys. So just ask questions. Notice these things as they come along, and it's never a wrong answer to start treating yourself better, to start being more okay with yourself regardless of what's going on in your external life. It's never a wrong answer to just treat yourself better and just accept yourself for who you are. Never a wrong answer. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.